What up? I just finished recording the whole video. I did it in one take because I'm lazy. But I'm gonna record this disclaimer first because I'm a very enthusiastic person. So if some of this advice does not stick or resonate with you, please do not take it or take it to heart or get not offended. You can get offended. I don't care. Do what you want. But in that sense of what I'm saying is not the end all be all. Please do your own research. Please feel how you're going to feel about things that I say or information that I'm giving, which again, my do not take my information as the end all be all. The internet is a thing, so use it, please. I also say this in the video. But double check, fact check me. I'm giving very, very broad information for a reason. So even if I say something that's not technically correct, go fact check me. I'm a person on the internet. Okay, enjoy the video. What up? So, this is going to be a quick ish rundown of everything you need to be knowing or should have been doing prior to you watching this video. So, just basic credentials. Already went through college. I have a younger sister about to enter college. And if she's struggling with me, no, I'm just kidding. If she's already struggling, I know a lot of you are also struggling. So, and I know this class that's about to go into college is going to be the largest class, blah, 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 coming into college, which is great. So happy for everybody. So I have some things to go over. I'll do quick overviews of most things, some details into some, but mostly I'm going to be talking about admissions, touching on scholarships, tuition and fees, then working with school for your classes, picking a major, whatnot, and then more about just random knickknacks and things to be going over. So, admissions. Just follow directions. I'm sure most of you have already done this because college is coming up very quickly. So, if you have not already done it, or if you're thinking about if you're taking a gap semester and you're just like, hey, I'm just going to work for a little bit and then I might do college in the spring or even next fall. So, that's something where, again, just follow instructions. Look at colleges, do your research. Mostly, I would be doing research about towns and cities that you want to go to. If you want to stay in your hometown, great. Then get there, get to their websites because we live in the day and age of the internet. Use it, okay? So, look on your websites, find the steps. There are so many checklists, oh my God, to help you along the way. So, if you're not following those and you're struggling, maybe follow them, and that might be helpful. So, moving on. Moving on from admissions, those were my notes on pen and paper because I'm old, according to my sister. So, tuition and fees. This is very, very specific to your situation, and you need to be doing additional research. Sorry, I cannot be the end all be all for information for you, but you need to be doing your own research. So, I was a military kid, so I had to figure out how military education benefits worked, and I worked at my veterans office for 3+ years when I was in college, so I'll talk about jobs on campus too in a sec, but but no matter what you're doing, you need to be applying for FAFSA, even if your parents make all the money in the world or blah, blah, blah. Just submit it, try to get the information. If you're thinking about, because if you're not getting any support from your parents and you're like, I don't know their tax information and whatnot, that's where you need to be calling and talking to FAFSA because if you are completely separated, and I mean completely, like basically no contact with your parents, that's the only way you're going to qualify for an emancipated minor. So, and that's the only way that you can use your own income for FAFSA. There's more details and better videos on that, so go find those. But yeah, apply for FAFSA. That should be your first step. The second step is navigating your school's website and looking at their information. Because if you want scholarships, the best ones to try to go for, don't go for those websites where it's got 5,000 scholarships on there and you put the filters for what you apply for. That's just going to be spam email. I'm going to be so real. I would say look at places and organizations that you potentially are interested in for a career. So that's looking at maybe even like construction sites. If you want to be a manager at a construction site, start looking at those because so the whole thing is that education is a business and people will give scholarships to schools and colleges because they obviously want employees. They want people to come in. So look at companies that you are wanting to. A lot of law firms will give donations for scholarships. And if you're interested in law, go do that. Go look them up. And most of the time they're on their own websites, like the law firm's websites. Aside from that, once you're admitted into a school, you're going to have access to like the student portal. And that will usually have your own like scholarship portal inside of it. So that's a really valuable resource because essentially they're already vetted. You're not going to get any scam scholarships, nothing where it's like, oh, you actually have to pay money before you can get. Don't do that. Don't do that at all. So vet your scholarships, take them from reputable businesses and whatnot. That is definitely the way to go. Lots of finance companies, please look for the finance company scholarships because those ones are the best ones. I got one of them. I got nominated. It wasn't an applying for thing, so that's the other thing is making connections at school because that will be integral to a lot of other opportunities. A lot of people like to say that it's like connections will get you everywhere. They are so right because you could have all the schooling in the world and have no connections, and that's going to get you maybe an interview, maybe, especially in this job climate. So don't rely on your education. Don't rely on all the AP classes you took because I'm sorry to tell you, that doesn't make you very special. And it sucks that you put all that fucking work in to get those credits and to be smarter and to have more worldly views. They don't care because at the end of the day, it's how you are as a person and how you treat other people. That is what it is. Because whenever you're a genuine human being wanting to make connection and using your intelligence and your experience to help other people, they're going to want to help you too. They're going to want to be nice to you. And when you're also nice back to them, that is what connections are. When people say networking and blah, 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 if you're networking with the intention to get something out of it, no one's going to want to be friends with you. No one's going to want to network with you because most of networking is just making friends. That's that's what it is. So that delved a little bit aside from tuition fees, but the whole connections thing will help get you scholarships and help fund your education, and that might even get you jobs and whatnot. So that's really what it's all about. So working through school, that's what I did. I worked at my veterans office, and then I was an RA, and then I worked as a front desk like liaison for the mathematical and statistical sciences department. So working on campus, I say give school a campus job. If you can handle, big caveat, if you can handle working in school at the same time, I say do it because you're going to have, I'm going to say you're going to have more time. That makes absolutely no sense, but you're going to be able to have the money to fund things to have more fun, which I think essentially gives you time back. That's not making sense at all. Maybe I'll go further into it in another video, maybe. But the whole thing is that it lets you do a lot more things because anybody who has been without money before, it's not fun. Period. So whenever you do have money, you get to have more fun. So it's like I'm sure lots of you understand, some of you may not. That shit is what it is. But working through school, highly recommend because if you get a school job, a specific school sponsored job, this also does connect to the FAFSA, right? So whenever you fill out FAFSA, they'll tell you whether or not you're eligible for work study, federal work study, right? Whereas if you're getting military education benefits, which I can do another video on that if you guys want to. So, but the what was I just saying? I'm too lazy to do cuts, so you're just gonna sit here through my brain fart. Bum bum. Yep. Working through school, job. Oh, federal. So whenever you're getting, if you're using military education benefits, you can be able to get federal work study through using a military education benefit. So even if you don't qualify for federal aid, you can still use it. So this is obviously only relevant to people using military benefits. However, you can also search jobs. Most schools, I think nowadays, like major universities, are using Handshake. So Handshake is a great tool to use to find on-campus jobs, and it'll show you, and you can filter it out by work study specific jobs and non-work study. What that means is that the school gets a lump of money from the government and saying, hey, you can pay these kids this amount of money to work on campus. And non-work study means that they're paying you out of their regular budget, out of like the school's office's budget, like the same money that they use to pay for snacks and goodies and whatever. That's the same pot of money that you're going to get paid out of. So for a couple jobs, so I was without benefits for a little bit, and I needed a job that could do without work study because I already had one with work study. So I needed another job, but I couldn't use the work study I was already using. So I needed a new one. And so that one I filtered out. And so they were paying me out of their own office budget instead. So those are the kind of things that you want to look for. But if you can handle working off campus, if you have a car, these are things that obviously are very conducive to the very specific situation that you're in. So if you have a car and you're willing to drive, but again, working on campus when you're not wasting gas, you're already someplace that you already need to be, thinking about these things and you're like, oh, I want a job. think about the things that you need to pay for when working at said job, because those are the little things where you are now working to pay to get to work or paying to do something else for work. Like, think about those things and weigh them, because at the end of the day, the most money you can save is more money in your pocket, obviously. Even if, like, you're paying, so I used to live or I used to work on a campus where you had to pay for parking. I was lucky and I only worked on campus when I was already living on campus. So I didn't have to pay for parking because I was already there. So, but it was like $5 to $20 for parking. So if I was thinking about doing that and I was like, oh, well, I want to work somewhere else, but I have to pay parking because I'm in like a downtown area. Now I'm losing $20 of my paycheck. And for my coffee drinkers, that is like 4 coffees ish. So, like, thinking about what that is monetarily for you, right? So, just think about those things when thinking about getting a job and whatnot, but think about benefits and everything like that. So, the next piece, working with advisors slash picking a major. So, a lot of people, if you don't know what you want to do not force yourself into a decision, because that don't make no sense. And also, the whole thing is an 18-year-old, 17-year-old, however old you are, young, if you are below 25, your prefrontal cortex is not developed. You should not be having that person making decisions for your career for you. You are going to find out what you want to do. Do not stress it. Some things you do have to decide and you're going to figure it out. So you may have to anyways, or your school requires you to, or whatnot. So for a lot of stuff, like let's say engineering and nursing, you have to be undeclared before you can get admitted into it because you need a certain GPA, right? So some of you don't have a choice. You have to go undeclared. But I would say anybody going in should be going in undeclared most of the time. If you already kind of know what vibe you want to go through, because either way, it's just going to be paperwork. That's really thinking about switching and doing whatnot. Even if you're undeclared, you're still going to have to do paperwork to declare anyways. But even if you choose something and then decide you don't want to do it anymore, it's still paperwork. So do whatever you want, really. It's more about what credits are going to go towards your degree plan. That is the most important thing. So start out with gen eds. Start out with gen eds. And even if, so let's say you're also trying to think about community college, get the credits that are going to transfer out. Do not take random ceramics courses or whatnot unless they're going to apply to the university or the degree plan that you want eventually. Because otherwise, you will have wasted money, or if it's free, wasted time. Not so free. So think about those things when you're taking classes, because yes, those classes may sound super fun and super cool. Are they going to be relevant? I say that with the caveat that I also do say whenever you're in school, you need to take at least one fun class a semester. This can mean anything. That for me was, I can talk about this again in other videos too about my college decisions and whatnot. So I initially went to school for art school. And I was taking lots of art classes, obviously. So those were my fun classes initially. And then I switched to communications. So my fun classes were then writing classes and as in like English writing, creative writing classes, and then my art classes. So I had 2 minors and then I had a certificate. So those were my fun classes. Is if you have enough room in your degree plan, take fun classes to create a minor, because at the end of the day, your minors don't really matter. It's about what you're going to remember from those classes that is useful. So if you're trying to jam pack everything in there and you want it to be useful, I would say get certificates rather than minors. Make your minors fun. Make them fun, because school sometimes really fucking sucks and you need the light at the end of the tunnel of, I loved my movie classes. Those were my favorite classes ever. We would watch our movies either in class or as like an online class, and then we would do our discussion posts and we'd have to write papers or whatever, or projects. One of them was like analyze different parts of your favorite movie and why, and my favorite thing ever. So take the classes that are going to help you get through school, that makes learning fun. Because also, if you're paying for college and you don't like learning, what are you doing? What are you doing? If you don't enjoy school, maybe college is not the thing for you. That may be something in the trades. That might be, this is definitely delving from the college 101 video, but really though, if you decide after a year or two that you don't want to do that, don't do it. I have seen too many people, especially to live up to their own expectations or the expectations of family members or financial whatevers, that if you're not having fun or at least enjoying or think that you're going to enjoy it when you're out, Don't do that. That is such a wasted time that you could have been doing something that you love more. Point blank, period. Just do what feels right. I'm also not saying to follow your every whim of like, oh, you know what? I want to go do that. Think these things through a little bit. Don't just go willy nilly. But for my overthinkers who are like, oh my God, I need to commit. I already committed. And you can change your mind, okay? You are allowed to change your mind. No one should tell you what to do with your life that you are not also on board with. That is something, and I know it feels foreign for those people because they can never fathom doing something like that for no reason. That you can just change your mind to change your mind. And you can totally do that. So, but again, you can do that with the thought that you are going to face whatever consequences of that choice or the benefits of that choice. Okay? That is the thing. So a lot of people are like, oh, like you can't do that or you should not be doing that because they think that you can't handle the consequences or the outcomes of your decision. If you're fully committed, do it then. If you've thought it out and you know what you're going to do it. If you haven't, maybe take the time, do some more research. But at the end of the day, if you know what you're doing, which most of the time you're not, that's also fine. But the biggest thing about college is especially that it's a development part of your life. That's really it. No matter the age or even whatever, when you're in college, you're making a decision to educate yourself. That is the point. So if you are learning something that you're not loving or learning something that you don't think is relevant or that really like resonates with you, that you're not excited to go to class, not that you need to be excited to go to class every day. You're not going to be. You're just not. But you still need to, at some level, understand who you are. And I know that that's crazy to think about. Some 18-year-olds think that they know exactly how their life is going to go and they have it all planned out. And some people have no clue. They're the people who are like, I don't know. And to that, I want to shake their shoulders and be like, figure it out. But to each their own. I'm just a control freak. That's fine. But again, it's okay to change your mind. It really is. But commit. That is the only thing. If you want to be wishy-washy, do it, but commit. Don't cry and complain about the decisions that you ended up making. If you made your bed, you're going to lie in it. So, that is my 2 cents for that. However, one of my favorite things is working with advisors on your classes. So with my degree plan in communications, which a lot of people are going to talk shit about it. Again, if you guys want me to go into it a little bit more, if you guys are interested in it, let me know. But a lot of people talk shit about it. But with that degree plan, it gave me so many extra electives. It was a normal amount of electives, like maybe a little bit more than normal, like obviously more than engineering or a STEM degree that's really intensive, obviously. But as like a regular like liberal arts and sciences degree, I had enough minors to get a certificate and two minors. But that was because I double dipped. That is your greatest resource in college is your advisor, the course catalog, and your degree audit. And again, this is something I can get totally into in another video. I'm just going to keep saying that because this is very overview. So, but the whole thing is that you can double up. And it depends on the college and it depends on the advisors and how you better be nice to them so they do these things for you. But the whole thing is that you can double up. So my school, they let you use a class at least twice to apply to 2 different requirements. So the whole thing was, let's say, so I had an art history class. So art history 1 counted for my regular CLAS, class of liberal arts and sciences, degree requirements. So those are your gen eds, right, that are required for your degree plan in college. So, right, the College of Engineering, College of Business, College of whatever, they're going to have their own requirements, right? Most of them are about the same. But that one counted for, like, my humanities. But it also counted toward my art minor, right? So it let me count it in 2 places. So essentially 2 classes, right? Tracking? 2 classes for 1. A 2-for-1 deal. Which means I had now had another free elective. So I squeezed out 2 minors and a certificate out of double dipping. So if something combined for my communications degree that I could also do for my certificate, I doubled up. And doubling up in these different spaces creates more space for more learning and for more fun classes is really what I was doing. So I could get more fun classes out of it. So yeah, that's that's basically it. It's so much fun. I had so much fun digging into all the class course catalogs and all that stuff because, again, I'm a control freak. But yeah, if y'all have any more questions about random other stuff, that was kind of my overview. We're at 20 minutes ish, and I'm not going to cut anything out because I'm lazy. So, and it's decent information, so it is what it is. But yeah, if y'all want any more info, you let me know. This is my first video. You tell me what you want. Bye.